Happening boys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to your Backlash review, and this show was an absolute banger. So let's waste no time and let's get straight into it. Hey, so we kicked the night off super hot. We started with Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. The match was an absolute banger. It lasted about 20 minutes and it was basically non-stop action from the get-go. Braun Breaker went for a spear almost immediately and Seth Rollins got a dodge, and then they went straight outside the ring and they were brawling inside the crowd. They were bashing each other off the barricades. So this first part of the match was pretty much all outside the ring, which was pretty cool. Then we got back inside the ring and Seth Rollins went for a top rope maneuver and Braun Breaker caught him and he suplexed him back outside the ring, and it was pretty crazy because he just basically manhandled him like it was nothing. Braun Breaker sees that Seth Rollins is in the perfect position to try spear him through the announce table, and he gets his run up and Seth Rollins hits him with this nasty super kick mid-air. Like, it basically took him straight out of the air. It was so nice. But after the super kick, Seth Rollins nearly got counted out, which I don't know if it was a botch or if it was just really like intense late timing, but it had me for a second. I thought they'd both been counted out. There were a couple little errors in this match. Braun Breaker went for a Frankensteiner and landed on his neck nearly, which looked pretty nasty. Seth Rollins went for a DDT and it just completely fell apart, and it was a really good pivot from Braun Breaker here. He went for a standing moonsault and that basically pivoted it completely, but Seth Rollins sold the neck injury at the same time when he failed this DDT, whatever he was trying, but it did look good. It didn't look like too bad. Like, they saved it. With the bad, there was so much good in this match. Braun Breaker hit that crazy apron clothesline to the outside onto the announce table on Seth Rollins. That was pretty crazy. There was a Falcon Arrow spot from the top rope where Seth Rollins hit a suplex and it was reversed into a Falcon Arrow from Braun Breaker. It looked insane and it got the 2.99 kick out, which was really cool. And the reversals just kept coming because Braun Breaker went for another Frankensteiner and Seth Rollins landed on his feet, and the shock in Braun Breaker's face was absolutely insane. It was really good to watch. But as we started to end and near the match, when there's a Vision member in a match, you just know the Vision's gonna get involved. So Seth Rollins hits Braun Breaker with his pedigree and he goes for the stomp and he hits the stomp, and I'm like, alright, the match is done. Wow, Seth Rollins is gonna win. But Paul Heyman gets up on the apron and he distracts the ref, and Seth Rollins like, oh, I know what's coming now. So he goes outside and he grabs a chair, and then the Vision members, Logan Paul and Austin Theory, come out and Seth Rollins completely batters them with a chair. He sends him to the back and he chases Logan Paul, and he basically takes his eye off the ball here because when he gets back in the ring, Braun hits him with this spear. It did look a little weak. It was like a tired spear, so I was really hoping this wasn't the end of the match. Thankfully it wasn't. Rollins kicked out with another 2.99 kick out, and I was like, at this point this match is being really good. And then Breaker's like, he's had enough. He's going to spear Rollins and he's going to end this, but Rollins counters the spear into a pedigree, and this was a really good counter. It was out of nowhere, and Rollins then goes for the avalanche stomp, which Breaker counters into a spear off the top rope. It was pretty insane. Braun hits another spear and that is it. He cleanly beats Seth Rollins in my opinion. There was a little bit of interference, but it wasn't enough to cost Rollins the match. But yes, this is a huge win for Braun Breaker, probably the biggest of his career. That's excluding maybe his IC championship win, but unbelievable for Braun Breaker. This is huge. And I'm going to see that there's probably going to be a trilogy out this match, which I'm looking forward to. Or we might get Braun Breaker going into the world title picture. But genuine excellent match to kick off the night. It got me so hyped for the rest of the show, and this was the perfect match to kick off. And next was Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams for the US Championship. And this match was very good as well. Everyone tried to get in their move pretty early in the match. Sami Zayn hit a really nice sunset flip from the top rope to Trick Williams. Williams tried to hit the trick shot. He got reversed into a blue thunder bomb, which was pretty cool. But the first portion of the match was pretty slow up until Sami Zayn went for a springboard over the top of Trick Williams and he lands on his knee, and I'm like, oh shit, what's happened here? Because like, he proper sells it. I'm like, oh no, has he done his knee in? And it turns out he was playing possum. He rolls up Trick and I'm like, oh my god, is he going to win the title off this? But he didn't. Trick kicks out, and little Yachty is rightfully annoyed, so he gets up on the apron going on there. He's talking to the ref. He's like, how's he allowed to fake an injury? And when Yachty's talking to the ref, Sami Zayn picks up that candy cane kendo stick and he hits Trick right across the face with it. And I'm like, god damn. So that was a really big heel move from Sami, and he proceeds to just keep kicking Trick while he's down, even when the referee wants to get him off him. Don't worry, little Yachty gets his chance to get revenge back on Sami Zayn as he hits him with a candlestick when the referee's checking on Trick Williams, and Trick Williams hits Sami with the trick kick, and I'm like, ooh, that might be the match done. And Sami kicks out at 2.99, so we've got two intense moments there, which is pretty cool. Then the match goes to the outside, and Sami Zayn has had enough of little Yachty. He literally beats down on him. He just keeps punching him, and I'm like, whoa, that's assault, brother. That's so evil. But then he pulls out the stairs and he removes the top stair, and it's basically just the bottom one, the flat one, left exposed. And Trick Williams goes for a move, he was reversed, and Sami Zayn hits him with a nasty DDT onto the stairs. And I'm like, oh no, Sami's going to win from this point. But Sami does one crucial error. He takes the eye off the ball because little Yachty's getting up on the other side of the ring, and Sami Zayn hits him with a hollover to the back of the head. It was nasty. It was a really good tell from Yachty, but it was nasty. But them seconds that Sami took his eye off the ball, he rolls back into the ring, and Trick is an immediate answer for him. He hits over a trick shot and he retains the title. And I'm like, woohoo, thank God Trick retained. Honestly, this was an absolutely great match. I think it had all the tension it needed, so I think Trick needs to move on now. He's bet Sami twice, like Sami's in the rearview mirror, so we need a new feud. And I'm thinking maybe Carmelo Hayes can try to get his shot at Trick, because obviously Trick basically cost Carmelo his title. So let's see where that goes. Then we had Danhausen and a mystery partner versus Kit Wilson and The Miz. And genuinely, for what this match was, it was absolutely brilliant. It was a fun comedy match, 100%. The mystery partner was revealed to be a Danhausen. It was actually El Torito, former El Torito, a guy that's currently in AAA, Masquerade the Mask or something like that. I'm not 100% sure how to say it, so I'm not going to butcher it. But yeah, it was him, and if you know what former El Torito used to be able to do, oh, you knew we were in for a treat. And the match starts, and I'm ready for an absolutely 5-star classic, but then Kit Wilson boots Danhausen, and he goes flying, and I'm like, oh no, this is going to be a sad match. But Danhausen decides to start cooking with some absolute classic Lucha Libre moves. He hits some Hurricane Ranas, he hits some top rope maneuvers, he does a walk the ropes vintage Undertaker style move. But then unfortunately, Miz and Kit Wilson start to get the upper hand on him, and they start hitting these crazy maneuvers, things you'd never see. Like, this power strength from Miz and Kit Wilson was unbelievable. Held him there for a couple minutes, like up in the air with a suplex maneuver. They were hitting power slams, and they were hitting military presses and knees. Oh man, it was pretty brutal. Like, this showed a lot of strength from these two behemoths. As the match went on, Danhausen got involved, and you actually sometimes forget that Danhausen can actually wrestle. He was hitting some spinning DDTs, he was hitting some Hurricane Ranas, he was hitting all sorts of moves. But then, out of nowhere, Danhausen hits a suicide dive to the outside, and it takes out Kit Wilson, but they go up the ramp, and Kit Wilson gets the upper hand, and he boots Danhausen, and he puts him back into the clone machine, and I'm expecting maybe a huge, like, Obafemi style person to come out, but instead we got tons of little clones of Danhausens, and they beat up Kit Wilson, and I'm like, maybe that should be disqualification. Like, come on, what are we doing here? But I'm going to let it slide for the purpose of comedy. But then the Danhausens get the upper hand on Kit Wilson and The Miz to beat him up, and Danhausen goes for a maneuver, but Kit Wilson avoids the curse. He goes to curse him, and he pulls out a mirror, and he flashes back to Danhausen, and Danhausen gets hit with a skull-crushing finale. And I'm thinking the match is over, because this is the way they reversed the curse. But no, Danhausen breaks up at 2.999. And the match continues, and Miz goes outside the ring, and he goes to get the fire extinguisher under the ring, and Danhausen's about to get fire extinguished, and then it didn't work, and then Miz did it to himself and did Kit Wilson, and then Danhausen rolls back into the ring, hits a pump kick, and the match is over. It was so stupid, but I loved it. Like, you either loved this match or you absolutely hated it. I fell right down the middle. Like, I found it stupidly funny. Like, it was really weird. But yeah, it was actually a fun match. It was a good comedy match, and I didn't expect anything more from Danhausen, but this was a perfect amount of stupid and comedy at the same time. But yeah, I did enjoy this. Okay, then we had a match between Asuka and Io Sky, and genuinely this might have been match of the night. It was absolutely brilliant. It kicked off with a lot of chain wrestling, which I really enjoyed for the first 2 or 3 minutes of the match, and then there was a lot of "We Want Kyrie" chants broke out throughout the match, and it was kind of a bit of "We Want Kyrie" first portion match, middle portion of the match, and then not near the end of the match, because I think the fans really got into this match. There was a lot of outside of the ring wrestling as well. Asuka tying up Io Sky when she went for a moonsault, and then hitting her head off the ring post. That was pretty nasty, but it was a really good spot. And there was a lot of submission wrestling in this match. It was absolutely brilliant. Io would counter an Asuka lock with a roll through into her own Asuka lock, and then Asuka would counter into an armbar. Io would put the Asuka lock back in on Asuka, and this was some brilliant submission wrestling. I really enjoyed this segment because it just showcased how technical both women are and how good they are at submissions. An absolute masterclass to submission wrestling. And then Io went for a powerbomb off the top rope, and she hits this sunset flip powerbomb, and Asuka rolls through into a pin and pins Io, and it gets a 2.9 kick out, and I'm like, whoa, that was a really close call. But the match nears to a close, and Asuka's getting the upper hand at this point. She's got Io outside, and they're on the announce table, and Asuka goes for the mist, but Io dodges it with Wade Barrett's notebook. This was a really innovative counter. She completely countered it, and I really like that. And then she slammed her on the desk, put her back in the ring, and she goes for the over the moonsault. Asuka counters into an Asuka lock. Io basically passes out here, and I'm like, whoa, Asuka's won the match. Io passed out, but she does the Hulk up type thing, and then takes Asuka out with that double knee to the corner, and then the over the moonsault. And 1, 2, 3, Io Sky wins the match. And genuinely, this match was an absolute banger. And at the end of the match, we had a bit of respect from both women. They hugged. Asuka was really she had lots of tears in her eyes. So I think this potentially could be her last match in WWE. That might be a retirement match we've just seen. And if it is, wow, what a way to go out. But yeah, what a match and what a night of wrestling so far. And then we had John Cena's history-making news announcements, and everyone thought this would probably be a lackluster announcement, probably Club WWE, something lackluster, just nothing special whatsoever, just not worthy of Backlash. To my pleasant surprise, we had an announcement for the John Cena Classic, which is basically going to be a tournament to crown a new champion, the John Cena champion, and the fans can vote who wins. It's almost a Cyber Sunday-like vibe. Which I'm not sure about that. That's interesting, because I think the fans will literally clown this and probably vote for Danhausen to win, or Akira Tozawa, someone who's just shouldn't be a crazy big champion and win this huge tournament of some caliber. But yeah, I think this could be a fun concept, but I don't know about the voting of the champion. But the announcement was pretty cool. It's not exactly crazy, but it was pretty cool. And we had the main event between Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. This match was nothing short of a banger. It was really good. It started another match quick out the blocks, where Jacob Fatu immediately took Roman Reigns out of the ring and hit him with a suicide dive into the Tongan death grip, which was pretty mental, because Roman caught him and he got him into the Tongan death grip, and Jacob Fatu then rams Roman into the post, and Jacob continues to punish Roman outside the ring. He rolls him back inside the ring, and Jacob gets back in, and Roman hits him with a Superman punch, and I'm like, oh, is this gonna be a quick match, because it seemed pretty quick paced. And Jacob Fatu kicks out at one, and then he hits that dance. I'm like, oh my god, this man is an absolute psychopath. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And Roman's shock is like, whoa, what is going on? Who is this guy? The match goes on a bit, and Jacob starts to hit a couple moves, but then they go back to the outside of the ring, and Jacob hits a powerbomb on Roman through the table, and I'm like, god damn, that was crazy. But they roll back in the ring. Jacob gets hit with a spear out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh wow, that was pretty crazy. And Jacob gets the 2.99 kick out, and I'm like, oh, that was a close one. Roman decides the game's done here, and he goes for another spear, but he gets pop-up Samoan dropped into the mighty moonsault, and I'm like, oh my god, is Jacob Fatu gonna win this match? And he gets the 1, 2, and I'm like, Jesus, he's actually gonna win. And this is the latest 2.99 kick out I might have seen in a long time. I was like, whoa, it caught me for a second, but Roman kicks out. At that point, both men are absolutely exhausted, and they do the classic yay, boo punch spot, which was pretty good. Jacob Fatu got the yays, and Roman got the boos, surprisingly, and it kind of went, Roman got the yays, Jacob got the boos, so it was a very split crowd. That is one thing I noticed during this match. It was a very, very split crowd. no one knew who they wanted to win, basically. But as the match goes on, Jacob Fatu locks in the Tongan death grip again, and Roman eye gouges him. I knew he'd have some sort of counter to the Tongan death grip, but it leads to a ref bump spot in the corner, and then Roman hits his super combo. He hits the spear, he hits the Superman punch, and I'm pretty sure he hit a second spear, and Jacob Fatu kicks out at 2.99 again. I'm like, this game is surely done at that point, but somehow he did kick out, and I'm like, what? I'm like, no way, Jacob Fatu might actually win the title. Jacob Fatu locks Roman back into the Tongan death grip, and Roman fully passes out. He is out cold. The ref raises his arm and it flops, and he's completely unconscious, but then he raises his arm again, and Roman's still alive, so the match continues. So I think this might be the story beat for this feud, that Roman passed out and that the referee should have rang the bell, because realistically, he was out cold. That it should have been, the match should have been over, should have been a new champion. But anyways, Roman counters the Tongan death grip by ramming Jacob Fatu into a exposed turnbuckle and hitting a spear, and that is how he won the match. It was a really good match, but that was not it. Jacob Fatu was pissed. He knocks out Roman, he Tongan death grips him to death essentially, and then the officials come in and he continues to Tongan death grip him, and he's kicking out officials. He throws out Adam Pearce. I was like, whoa, that was pretty important. Like, I thought something would come more from that, but he takes out officials, and then he gets kind of taken to the back, and then he comes back out and hits in the Tongan death grip, and Roman's foaming at the mouth at this point. This is a really good visual from WWE. Like, Roman's foaming at the mouth, and Jacob's just absolutely insane, and it's clearly this is not over, and Jacob stands tall with the World Heavyweight Championship to end the night on a great cliffhanger to end Backlash. That is it for my Backlash review. Hopefully you enjoyed some of my opinions. I don't think there was too controversial ones in this one. I think everything was pretty well rounded, and everyone kind of had the same notion that this was a really good show. But yeah, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Route 2 in about